Hey, good morning, everybody. Happy Asynchronous Wednesday. Yes, we know you cannot have a happy Wednesday if it's asynchronous. We know you miss your teachers, and we miss you too. So let's make the best of it. And one of the things I've found is that if you want time to go by fast, get busy, right? If you're waiting for something to happen, and waiting for a day to be over with, it will take forever if you don't do anything. But if you get busy doing something, man, time will fly. So get busy, and before you know it, it'll be Aloha Thursday, and you'll get to see your teachers again. Sound good? All right. You know the drill. Go ahead and copy this down. Go try all the problems, and then come back and either see if you did it right or wrong, or see how to do it, right? Sometimes I stump you on some of these. All right, we'll see you in a bit. And we're back. What two numbers have a product of 56 and a sum of 30? I apologize for that. I said 56. That's what I wanted it to be, 56. I wrote 58 because while I was doing that, instead of doing 7 times 8, I was doing 28 times 2 in my head. Apologize for that. Okay, you go try that one and come back. 56 and 30. Man, you guys were probably really stumped with that 58. I don't think that was going to work. 7 times 8. Man, that is not starting off well. Okay, hopefully I don't get any more of these wrong as we go on. But 2 times 4 is 8, but I had to move the decimal over 1 spot to pretend that was a 2 and 2 spots to pretend that was a 4, right? Pretend there's no decimals and multiply. So that's total 3 spots I moved decimals in my problem. So I have to go back 3 spots in my answer. These 2 empty spaces here, what do I say? Fill in the egg carton, right? So that's what we get when we multiply. When I add, the key is to stack them and line up the decimals. And when you do that, you end up with having numbers that go off farther to the right than the one above it or below it. What do? Just add zeros. You're allowed to add zeros after a decimal. Then you bring it straight down and start adding. Seems like it works, right? Okay, how about 1 1/3 and 4 1/3? Is that even possible? I'm going to give you a hint on both of these. And then if you're stumped, if you couldn't get these, pause it after the hint. Now, if I use a C method on this, right, and rewrite that 1 whole as 3/3, I have 3/3 and 1/3. That's a total of 4/3. So 1 1/3 is the same as 4/3. Okay, that's a hint for you. Okay, C method on this one. 2 times 5. Each of those 2 wholes is 5/5. So 2 times 5 is 10/5 plus 2 more fifths. That's a total of 12/5. Okay. I want you to see if that helps at all on these. Again, I'm hoping I got these right. Okay? All right, go ahead. Okay, were you able to figure it out? Okay, this is actually 4 1/3, right? 4 times 1/3 is a total of 4/3, and 4 plus 1/3 is 4 1/3. And this is actually 6 2/5. 6 plus 2/5, you know, is 6 2/5. 6 times 2/5. Remember, multiplying fractions is what? Hopefully you yelled out easy. You yelled it out so loud your mom came running in from another room. Said, "What are you yelling about?" You can make any number a fraction by putting a 1 under it. So 6 times 2/5 is the same as 6 over 1 times 2 over 5, which is multiply across the top, multiply across the bottom. I get 12/5. Cool, huh? All right. When you solve these, okay, what are you doing first? Well, you're getting multiplying or dividing. It's going to happen before any adding and subtracting. I'm not seeing any multiplying and dividing on this one. 8 plus -5. I have 8 plus I owe 5. Can I pay everything I owe? I can, huh? Am I going to have any left over? Yeah. Pay the 5, still got 3. So now I have 3 plus 12.82. Now, hopefully you didn't come over here and put the 3 there. All right? That would be a mistake. It's a common mistake. Remember that the key when you add decimals or subtract decimals or compare decimals, stack them and line up the decimal. So you say, but there's not a decimal in that 3. Yeah, if there's not a decimal in a whole number, it lives on the right. You don't need it, so you don't write it. But when we go start to add or subtract decimals, you need it. So put it in there. so you know where to put that number, right? The other thing you think of is that's 3 ones. Where's the ones place in 12.82? The 2, right? So make sure that 3 goes below the 2, okay? Now I can add zeros because it makes it a little less confusing to look at. And then I just go add. 15.82 is my answer. Hopefully you got that one, okay? Now here's the tricky one. One of the most tricky ones in the whole warm-up. Besides that one I threw you for a loop here, right? These were kind of hard too. All right, that 4 next to the parentheses. There's nothing in between the 4. So am I supposed to add it? Subtract it? Divide? When there's nothing written between a number and parentheses, you can imagine an invisible multiplication sign there. Okay. Now I'm going to do parentheses first. I owe 3 plus I have 8. Put those together. Oh, what am I going to have? I'm going to pay the 3. I'm still going to have 5 left over. So now I have 4 times 5 minus 6. 4 5s is 20. And the difference between 20 and 6 is 14. Okay. All right. First number goes in the box. Second number goes outside the box. This is the divisor, right? 4 goes into 8 twice. Perfect fit. Bring down the 4. Goes into 4 once. Perfect fit. Bring down the next 4. Goes into 4 once. Perfect fit. 211 is your answer on that one. 8 into 762. And what do we have here? 8 won't fit into 7. It fits into 76 9 times, because that's 72, right? Bring down the 2. Goes into 45 times. Now, 3 choices. I can say remainder of 2. I could bring the 2 up, have it be on top, the 8 on the bottom, 2/4, which is the same as 95, and 2/8 is, 1/4. Or I can add decimals and keep adding zeros and dividing, and you would have gotten 95.25. All 3 of these things are the same answer. Depends on what they're asking for, okay? All right, got a match. How do I figure out which one of these matches? Well, I can use the C method, okay, on this. And, oh, I messed up on this, didn't I? Yeah, big time. Okay. No, that looks good. All right, C method on this, or I can divide the bottom into the top on the improper fractions. Sorry, cold medicine today. Got those allergies. So 3 goes into 29 9 times, and that's 27. Remember, my remainder is going to go on top. What was on the bottom when I started goes on the bottom. So that's 9 2/3. Now, if I was over here trying to find a match for here, then I would use the C method. Remember how that works. You multiply 3 times 9, and then you add. So 3 times 9 is 27, plus 2 more is 29. What was on the bottom goes on the bottom. So there's our match there. 11 into 121. 11 times 11 is 121. Right? Easiest one there. So this must equal this, and let's try it. 3 into 226. 3 times 7 is 21. Okay, bring down the 6. 3 goes into 16 5 times, because that's 15. Remember, your remainder is going to go on top. What was on the bottom when I started goes on the bottom, 75 1/3. Now, the other way, remember the C method. I'm going 3 times 75. Now, that would be a hard problem if I didn't like money so much. 75 cents is 3/4. 3 times 75 is 75, 150, 225, plus 1 more, 226 over 3. Okay? Now, don't freak out when you hear the words evaluate for the value given. Sometimes we'll even add the word evaluate the expression for the value given. Okay? Or algebraic expression. Really try to confuse you with some hard words, right? Hey, use those words. The more you use them, the more familiar you are with them, the less intimidating they are, and then pretty soon you just own them, right? Right? You know what they mean. Basic one-word description of what you're going to do when you see these problems is play soccer coach and substitute. If they are telling you that k equals 2.5, then I'm going to put 2.5 in for k. Now, 4k, I'm not going to write 42.5. That's 4 times. Just like when parentheses up here, when I had a number next to parentheses, when you have a number next to a letter, you're multiplying. So 4 times 2.5 plus 12. 4 times 2.5, I'm going to tell you right now, that's 10. 10 plus 12 is 22. Now, if you have to, go over here and multiply. Pretend there's no decimal. 4 times 25 is 100, but I moved it over one spot. Got to move it back one spot. That's how I got my 10. Okay, 7g, that means 7 times g, and g equals 5. That's not 75. 7 times 5 is how much? Hopefully you said 35. And the difference between 35 and 4 is 31. All right, last couple of absolute value problems. Remember, absolute value, you're just saying how far is that number from 0? And 6 is 6 spots from 0. Negative 6 is 6 spots from 0. So the absolute value of negative 6 is the same as the absolute value of 6. Right? A lot of people just think it turns it positive. Make sure you only do things, you turn it positive if the negative is inside the absolute value bars. Absolute value of negative 6 is 6. But if there's a negative outside those bars, it ain't doing anything to it, right? This turned it into a 6, but that negative on the outside still stays. Okay? They'll try to fool you on those sometimes. So this is just going to be the absolute value of negative 25.5 is 25.5. The absolute value of negative 11.6 is 11.6. All I got to do is add 25 5/10, 11 and 6/10. Stack them. Line up the decimals. Decimal comes straight down. Go add 37 and 1/10. Absolute value of negative 15 is 15. Absolute value of 7 is 7. Don't turn that into a negative, right? Some people do that. 15 and 7 is 22. 2. All right. Hopefully you have as good a day as you can being asynchronous, huh? We miss you. All right. See you tomorrow for an Aloha Thursday.